I'm Jamie Heineman.
And I'm Adam Savage.
We're going to find out what happens when you strap a rocket to a 67 Chevy.
Oh, yeah.
Coming up, we turn a Chevy into a 350-mile-per-hour road warrior.
This is so exciting. I'm going to have a grinectomy.
Pop rocks and soda. Urban myth or recipe for disaster.
Dude, your stomach's going to burst.
Here on MythBusters, we're not just going to retell the stories.
Small pin.
We're going to put them to the test.
We're prepared to put our bodies on the line.
There's just one problem. Some aren't myths at all.
Which one would that be?
I don't know yet.
So why should you trust these guys? Well, Jamie and Adam have over 30 years in model building, animatronics, and toy prototyping. They've worked in features, television, theater, and games. They can build just about anything, and probably have.
This is M5, my special effects shop. Come on in and have a look around.
Jamie's amassed an awesome collection of tools, talent, and techniques. If we can't find it here,
I'm trying to locate a pig's stomach.
there's always Adam's eclectic collection.
I come from the planet Butthead.
And if that fails, the guys are backed by experts in folklore, crime, medicine, and engineering.
Ow, ow,
Jamie and Adam are supposed to be experts in what's real and what's not. And they'll need every trick in the book.
So where do we begin? What do we got? Let's go.
This is the big one. What we have is a 1967 Chevy Impala that was taken out into the desert, and somebody had put a rocket booster on it. Now, they found out about it because there was a smoldering wreckage that the highway patrol there found.
We pieced together a gentleman or an individual that had put a JATO, or a rocket assist takeoff unit, on an older model vehicle.
The guy apparently was an Air Force sergeant, former Air Force sergeant.
He made sure he had a long, straight road and there was nothing around.
He got up to highway speed, about 80 miles an hour, fired the things off.
The car had accelerated from like 80 to 300 miles per hour in a couple seconds.
Yeah. There was a curve in the road, a slight increase or upgrade, and a mountain shortly thereafter.
So he applies the brakes, and of course the brakes burn out.
They found about 1.5 miles of skid mark.
He didn't make the turn, he went airborne, and he crashed into the side of the mountain approximately 100 or so feet up in the air.
So do we have any corroboration of this, or any photos, or anybody come forward?
Well, that's our job to pursue that, and we need to get a hold of a 67 Chevy or something as close as we can to it, and need to get a hold of a JATO or a RATO, or again something equivalent to it.
I foresee some wreckage, actually.
Well,
personally, there's so many variables here in terms of, you know, a car that's got to accelerate even to 150 miles an hour for a 35-year-old car. It'll look really cool.
It'll look really cool. I mean, that's going to be big flame shooting out the back. It's going to be great. I can't think of anything more fun than doing this.
No, you know what? I really can't.
I first heard about the story approximately 1994 when I was, my job was a spokesman for the Department of Public Safety. I received a phone call from a local reporter asking about a Darwin Award that was on the internet. The way the story read was that the Arizona Department of Public Safety, or the Highway Patrol, was the ones that did the investigation on it. I thought it was a very real possibility that it could have happened, because Arizona is home to several air bases. Thus, military personnel could have gotten a hold of a JATO unit to use in this fashion.
JATO, or Jet Assisted Takeoff, has been around since the Second World War. We should call them RATOs, because each canister is filled with solid rocket propellant. A single unit puts out 1,000 pounds of thrust for 12 to 15 seconds. Up to 8 JATOs are used when large military aircraft are operating with heavy loads or from short runways.
Do we think the military's just going to hand over one of these JATO bottles? What do we do if they don't actually let us have one?
Well, I kind of doubt that they will. This is not the kind of thing that you would want to let the general public have access to.
Yeah.
Air Force Public Affairs. I'm not at my desk right now, so leave a message.
We'd love to have the military there and involved. We would like the assistance of the Blue Angels. We're trying to get a hold of and get the military's assistance with operating one of these rados or JATOs, just so it's clear we're not trying to get a hold of one of these things and do whatever we want with it. We want you involved.
Okay.
Well, we actually got to talk to somebody. She said they're very expensive units, and that I don't know whether it's going to be possible. This is an unusual request.
Most good urban legends have good details, names, places, dates. In this case, often it's a Chevy Impala that the man was driving.
So we need to find a '67 Chevy. I wonder where we're going to do that.
Well, I picked this up at a flea market, actually. This here is a '67 Chevy Impala. That's our goal.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll be able to find a junker, something with a crappy body. All we need is for it to run.
We live in America where, unless you're in New York or a place that has a subway, you must have a car to survive.
Not an Impala, we got a Pontiac.
It runs? The Pontiac runs?
Not at the moment, it just needed the transmission on.
Oh.
Yeah.
Only?
Yeah, but you know.
And a car not only is about survival, but it's also a symbol of adolescent freedom. When you get a car, you can leave the nest.
We're going to be putting some rockets on the top of the car and setting them
Oh, like
off.
the guy in the desert, the old
Yeah.
urban
That's
legend.
it.
So you want
Exactly.
it's a 72 Impala or 69 Impala you're supposed
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
use. Yeah, everybody.
We'll take anything that looks like, I mean, a Falcon within a couple of years.
Something of that
kinda-
vintage, as long
You
as it
want it to
runs. Don't care about.
T-Bird? You want a Thunderbird?
Well, it got to be cheap.
62. Well, $750.
That's
let's have a look
very
at it.
plausible.
It's also a symbol of sex. This is where a young man can have his first sexual experiences in this car.
Oh, yeah. That's the we're done.
I'll be kind of ashamed to destroy it.
We don't have to destroy it. Oh, that's so beautiful. Oh my God, I'm loving this. Oh, look at that. Wow. Oh, this automatic windows. Oh, yeah.
Is that your premise, though, to do that urban legend?
Yeah.
Why don't you should get a Chevy, because I always heard the story with the Chevy. Because I always understand it'd be like a 69 to 72 Impala.
Okay.
Chevrolet, the beautiful shape for 1965.
The Chevy Impala is an ideal candidate for urban legend status. It was first introduced in 1958. From the start, it was a prestige car within the reach of the average American.
Unmistakable. A completely new look time cannot wash away.
By the end of the millennium, sales exceeded 13 million, making the Chevy Impala the most popular full-size car in American history.
See the beautiful shapes of Chevrolet for 1965 at your Chevrolet dealers now.
We need it to run.
Need it to run.
Needs
This one
it.
may run. It's got a bomb motor in it. What do you mean? You're gonna put rockets on it? It'll go.
We're going to destroy the car.
Of course you are. That's half the fun.
Thank you anyway.
Thanks very much.
No problem.
Despite its popularity, the Impala is proving as hard to procure as JATO rocket.
We called you last week concerning procuring a JATO. procuring a JATO or a RATO. So far, we've had very little luck with getting anybody to return our calls.
I'm Sergeant Bob Stein with the Arizona Department of Public Safety, and you're watching MythBusters.
Jamie and Adam are following a promising new lead on that 67 Chevy.
Well, we're going to strap some rockets to its back end.
Yeah. You know that thing where they took it out in the desert and set those up?
I got the perfect car for you.
We're going to do that.
You got it.
It's a 67, all right, but unfortunately, an Oldsmobile.
Heavy.
Very.
450.
So far, we haven't seen a single 60s Impala.
We were looking at a T-Bird. It was that they had for $750. It was pretty nice.
Adam's beautiful T-Birds already been sold.
67.
This is your car if you want a car to put a rocket on. She's fast.
Just as we've given up hope of finding our car in time,
It's officially an Impala.
Would it be all right if I drive it around the block?
Oh, yeah. Oh, whoa, whoa.
I got it, lady.
it's a working 66 Chevy Impala with some decidedly non-standard features.
This is without a doubt our car. It's destiny.
I think the hydraulic aspect of it is just hysterical. You know, this thing we get a couple get the rocket mounted right up here. I mean, this is nice and sturdy.
We're gonna mount it on top?
That's what the legend shows.
Well, thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
We are 8.5 miles from where we bought the car.
It's 100 degrees. We're 3 hours from the shop. And thanks to a blocked fuel filter, our rocket car is doing exactly 0 miles per hour. Thank goodness Adam's got the gold breakdown package.
So, the Air Force apparently called us back and turned us down on the JATO rocket?
Permission denied.
Yeah, I think, did they call us back again just to deny permission again without being asked?
Twice.
So we got these things.
Yeah.
How are we gonna, these are the hobby rockets. This is like an example, one of the tubes. How are we gonna fire these off?
Well, these are actually more powerful than the JATOs. The ones that, you know.
But they're smaller, how's that possible?
Well, we're gonna use more of them. While they're running, they put out 1,500 pounds of thrust as opposed to 1,000 pounds, but they only last for 4 seconds. We're going to get several of them, and we'll set them off successively. So we're going to put 3 of them on, and we'll probably put them on the car like this. We have a qualified operator that you have to have a license a federal license to be able to purchase these things and operate them.
I would hope so.
Yeah, and so we're going to have those guys set them off, and
so that's what it's going to look like.
Yeah, that's essentially what we're going to do. We'll have to reinforce it and everything.
That's all fine in theory. But it's an awful lot of power to put on the roof of a junker.
1 pound of thrust is 2 horsepower.
So one of those rocket motors at 1,500 pounds of thrust is 3,000 horsepower.
Yeah.
That'll make our Chevy almost 4 times as powerful as an Indy car.
Think of putting another car on top of this car. It's that kind of weight that's up there.
So we want to probably build some kind of steel cage within the car's body to support this.
Yeah, we need to have.
We don't just want to like tie strap it to the roof or anything.
Yeah, that would be a bad idea. Could probably rip the roof right off the car.
Oh, how about that? There
Adam, you're going to get sick.
I believe I'm already sick.
Give me the fire extinguisher. What the?
This time, it's no joke. The fire's burning through the hydraulic lines.
That sawdust with the hydraulic fluid's a nice little kind of wicky thing.
Yeah. Wiki.
I was thinking that we would drill up through here and bolt the top frame onto here.
With this design, the whole roof structure becomes part of the rocket rack.
Well,
those 1, 2, 3, let's jump together.
These tubes will hold the hobby rocket motors firmly in place.
Fins for the rocket. Now, it turns out besides this legend, other people have strapped rockets to cars before, haven't they?
Yeah, there are world speed records that have occurred by using this.
In 1965, Walt Afrons built the first rocket-powered land speed car. Wingfoot Express 2 was initially designed with 10 JATO units, but that wasn't nearly enough. 25 rockets eventually blasted the car to an unofficial top speed of 605 miles per hour.
Of course, you have to remember that those are unusual cars. They're usually very long and
they're basically
built
like
for
rocks
this.
with wheels.
Yeah.
So this also begs the question, where do we fire this car off?
There are some lakes, dry lake beds to the south of here towards LA, so we'll probably try one of those first to see whether we can get access to something like that.
Jamie's having second thoughts about getting behind the wheel.
If this behaves like the legend says, we're going to have a 3,000 to 4,000 pound projectile out there. And I guess the other thing that I thought, with that in mind, if we do lose control of it, obviously we don't want to be in the car. So we're probably going to...
You don't want to be in the car?
I would love to be in the car. But
I think you should drive the car.
Well, I think I should too, but we've radio-controlled cars before, and it's a lot of fun.
So we'll make it radio-controlled?
Yeah, I think that's the safest way of dealing with it.
Oh, that's the coolest toy ever.
Yeah, it's a big kid's RC car. You want to do it?
It's not quite as simple as a radio-controlled toy. At 300 miles per hour, the forces on the steering servos will be immense.
Servos are motors that are positionable, so we can precisely control the steering on this. Right. We need to have something pretty good, because if it's going that fast, we need to really be able to dial in on the aim, or it may go out of control.
The transmitter also has dangerous limitations.
One of the things is that these radio controls are only good for 1,000 meters or so, plus or minus.
About half a mile.
Yeah. For us to, if this thing is going 300 miles an hour, it's going to get out of range from us real quick, even if we're driving alongside. So we're probably going to have to think of ways of either getting we're going to have to go out and rent a really, really fast car, or we'll have to get a helicopter. It'd probably be the safest way of dealing with it. I'm going to try and start it.
All right.
Yeah! Jamie's going to need every bit of control when he hits top speed.
At 350 miles an hour, a Chevrolet Impala, all the windows will pop out of it and the roof will peel off.
Andy Granatelli knows all about speed. He holds 21 Hall of Fame records. Many were set in conventional vehicles. He claims the top speed for a street machine, an awesome 241 miles per hour. At this velocity, wind resistance is the biggest enemy.
The car would become airborne at a little over 200 miles an hour. The car would just raise the front of it up and would flip over. In other words, because the air would get underneath the front of the car.
Yeehaw!
Jamie plans to use the Chevy's hydraulics to combat those forces. Lowering the hood should give considerable aerodynamic efficiency. It will also help with what he's been told is the most vital factor.
The most difficult thing about this whole deal is probably getting this straight on the car. There's no real true center line that we know is actually the direction the car is going to go. We have, according to the experts, a 6-degree misalignment is going to put about 100 to 150 pounds of push on the tail of the car. You come over that way.
I'm okay. I'm all right. I'm all right. I'm just fine. Nothing's broken. Nothing's hurt. That was a little bit of a shock. I just had a massive release of adrenaline.
Okay, so...
I am my own stunt double.
That way.
All right.
Yeah, that's as good as anything. So that's right about 86. And that's right about 86.
Beautiful. Let's tack this puppy down.
I can't wait to set this thing off. I'm going to be in a helicopter, and I've never ridden a helicopter before, radio controlling a 3,000 horsepower rocket-driven radio-controlled car.
What could be better? You know, you could just kill yourself when you were done, because it's just like, it ain't getting any better than that.
It's all going downhill from there.
Hi, I'm Andy Granatelli, and you're watching MythBusters.
And so the fun begins. It's such a treat to see the sunrise over the desert. What am I saying? It's a treat to fly over a rocket car in the desert.
Finally, all the pieces are coming together on the lake bed. With a bit of luck, we'll soon know if the JATO rocket myth is indeed possible.
I'm just setting the fail-safe on this. These radios actually leave an instruction with the receiver to return to a certain position if they should lose communication.
Yeah, I think so.
Jamie will be joined in the chopper by Eric Gates. He and his brother Dirk have over 20 years' experience in amateur rocketry. They plan to fire the motors by remote control.
Go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Jamie's going to do a dry run in the car. The rocket guys, I think, are going to do a test fire, so all systems are good. I expect it's probably about an hour to actual firing.
The remote control and fail-safe are working perfectly.
Everything went fine on that dry run. We got all 3
Well, you know, I'm not at all happy. The reason being that that unless something goes wrong on the first test, it makes me nervous because that means something's going to go wrong later.
How you doing? Adam Savage.
If this new visitor is right, Jamie may just get his wish.
I looked at it, the mount's not strong enough, number one. The mount's not straight either. We warned them about straightening the mount. It's got to be dead straight or it'll steer the car all the time.
George should know. Not only did he work on the Apollo program, he's conducted numerous speed trials out here.
8 points welded into the frame of the car.
I hope it works. I mean, you know, because I don't want you to dig up my leg bed.
Not exactly comforting words for our final briefing.
The helicopter's going to do a pass around just like we did the last time. About the time that it passes in front of the car, I've released the brakes and the car is going to start to roll.
Like the Myth, our plan is to get the car up to 80 miles per hour before firing the rockets.
Giving it a lot of gas.
When the motors go, they're going to have a tendency to scare you. So when you're hearing the 3, 2, 1, brace yourself, don't veer.
Sound like a jet engine. It's going to get a 15-foot flame out the back.
15. Yep.
Is that when the rocket fires, is it going to cause the...
We don't know. We don't know. The car might end over end, whatever. You want to be far enough away that you have, you know, several seconds.
Cool.
And if you do, a general rule of thumb with that kind of thing, if you do see something coming at you, go off at right angles to it. Don't try to outrun it.
The crew are not the only ones who'll be keeping a close eye on the rocket car. It seems to have attracted the interest of security at nearby Edwards Air Force Base.
Let's have a good bird, man. Yeah. Get your game face on.
Good luck.
This is so exciting. That cardboard box at the front of the truck.
I'm going to have a grinectomy. Green light to go. They're starting their circle now. Brakes are coming off. We are a go.
Nothing's happening. We're aborting? Yep, we're aborting. We are aborting. We are aborting. Copy that. Copy that. Let's abort the whole thing. Okay, helicopter's coming in.
Doesn't it go through the inside? So how do you get it?
Looks like the car's old gremlins are back to haunt us. With all the focus on horsepower and thrust curves, we never did fix that fuel problem.
The problem is that this is an older car, and we've been stirring up sediment in the bottom of the tank, and it's gotten into the fuel filter and clogged the fuel filter. All we have to do is pull the filter out and flush it out once in a while. And we should get a good run here soon. That sort of answers my need for a small failure. I'll accept that one as a small failure.
To go. Car's starting to roll. Okay, we're in line. Okay, coming out of full throttle. I'm coming hot with the electronics. All right. Okay, good luck. Go ahead and set them off. Okay, helicopter's at speed. Firing in 3, 2, 1. Fire. 3, 2, 1, firing. 3, 2, 1, firing. We got them all.
It's been a long road, but finally, we have liftoff. 3 rockets, 4 seconds, and 1,500 pounds of thrust apiece. That's 3,000 horsepower for 12 seconds. just like a JATO.
That was hysterical. That was absolutely outrageous.
What kind of speed do you think it got to?
I don't know. The helicopter was having trouble keeping up with it.
The chopper's top speed is 130 per hour.
Hey! Ah! That was beautiful. We lost track of it.
Oh yeah, we couldn't keep up with it with the helicopter. It just once those suckers lit, it just like.
It's one thing to see him go up, it's another thing to see him go horizontal.
Leave you guys in the dust.
Just the dust trail from the car is so beautiful.
I was quite impressed. I was hoping it would go good, and it did. You know, I was a little apprehensible, but no. Jamie did his homework.
Over the years, many have claimed they were the inspiration for this story. For those who really tried it, the results were the same. In 1957, Dodge was filming an ad on this same lake. They replaced the gas tank with a single JATO bottle. The car topped out at 140 miles per hour.
So, Jamie, given the structure of the original myth that the guy ignited the rocket, accelerated to like 350 miles per hour, supposedly hit the edge of a curve of the road and was airborne for several seconds before hitting the side of a cliff, do you think it's possible?
Didn't happen.
Yeah.
They'd have to have at least around 4 times the power that we did.
Back in '46, Andy Granatelli and his brothers did just that. They put 8 JATOs on an Indy racer.
The explosion was horrendous, and the thrust was such that you couldn't believe it. We looked at each other as if we were going to the moon. The rocket left not a little fizzle like this, but for about 300 feet long, for wider than the road and higher than the telephone wires, a tail of fire. And the car accelerated up to approximately 180 miles an hour. I mean, and believe me, I mean, it was unbelievable.
Andy's antics may well be the origin of the JATO myth. One thing's for sure, we can all quit calling the Arizona Department of Public Safety.
There never was a crash site found in Arizona, nothing even vaguely familiar. On occasion, we still get people inquiring about it, and we posted it on our website stating that it is a myth.
That was a lot of fun, though.
Yeah, it was great. Just those few seconds being in that chopper, right trailing behind the car, seeing those things set off, it was indescribable. Just seeing that car kind of go. I mean, it was beautiful. It was gorgeous.
Coming up next,
Pop Rocks and soda, myth or recipe for disaster.
I'm Jamie Heineman. You're watching MythBusters. I hope you cut that out.
So do you remember Pop Rocks?
Yeah, they were invented in 1956, the year of my birth.
Really?
Yes.
The legend we're approaching now is the legend that little Mikey from the Life Cereals commercial.
I remember it so clearly. The kid goes, "Let's get Mikey to try it. He won't eat it. He hates everything."
Whatever Mikey could eat, everyone could eat. That was the idea.
Anyways, Mikey at one point becomes a teenager.
He ate 6 cans of soda and 6 pouches of Pop Rocks.
And this has some kind of chemical reaction in his stomach.
And exploded, and he died.
So the myth is that, you know, that a combination of 6 packs of Pop Rocks and a 6-pack of soda is a lethal combination of gases that will make your stomach explode. We'd like to determine a couple of things. We want to see how much pressure is generated by a rapid infusion of 6 packs of Pop Rocks and soda. We'd like to determine how much pressure a stomach can withstand. I've been thinking about this, and I think to imitate a stomach, the pressures of a stomach, that the best course is to use a pig's stomach, which is actually physically very close to a human stomach, which can hold about between 1 and 2 pints, generally, of liquid. I'm trying to locate a pig's stomach. A pig's stomach. Should we continue further? Is this about the size of a human stomach?
I really could say.
How large is it? I mean, it's obviously it's deflated, right?
Like a swimming cap.
What?
Like a swimming cap.
Like a swimming cap. A very, very meaty swimming cap.
Originally, the idea was to create an instant carbonated soda by General Foods.
Can I try some?
Yeah, absolutely.
They discovered actually that when you ate those nuggets, there was like a sizzling or popping sensation in your mouth.
I'll tell you, it's been 25 years, but I know exactly what this is going to feel like. Have you had them before?
Long time ago, yeah.
All right.
And in 1975, they decided to launch Pop Rocks, as we all know Pop Rocks.
It's kind of gross.
The difference between normal candy or normal standard hard candy and Pop Rocks is that when the candy actually is still like melted, you put carbon dioxide under certain conditions of pressures that I believe is 600 psi.
This isn't getting us any closer to that pig stomach.
Does it have like the esophagus and the intestines attached at all?
No. Just the stomach.
I need all the tubes attached to it. Would it be possible to get it with as much of the attachments to it as possible?
No.
It turns out that the Food and Drug Administration have listed the esophagus and bowel as hazardous substances.
5825 south.
It looks like that says 580 is going. Well, I think we should just get a real pig and feed him. It'd be kind of fun to watch see what a pig does when you feed him a bunch of it.
See, again, there goes your lack of political understanding. You can raise so much hell with that.
It's better to kill the pig first and then give it to him?
Absolutely. People are much more comfortable with that arrangement. All right, here we are. 4 stomachs. Terrific. That's them. The specific instructions on the thing, complete with esophagus and intestines. It's actually becoming a reality.
That's one important mission accomplished.
Yummy. That looks like right out of Aliens, doesn't it? Looks like I can feel. All right, yeah, I've got my finger all the way down in there. So that's I don't know which one's the intake and which one's the output.
The worst part is the breath coming out of here. Soda.
It's interesting that the valves on this thing actually work. That's like it's holding its pressure. You know, I mean, we just put air in there and walked away.
And how do you think we'll get the Pop Rocks and the soda actually into the stomach?
To get these in there, we have to get them wet, unless we're gonna. I mean, they're not gonna pour. They're gonna stick along the side. They're gonna immediately clog the hole. You know, I had an idea.
Yeah.
What if we got a hold of some tea bag type stuff and kind of wad them up in little packets and drop them down in there? It's too big. Well, the packet's not going to work. It's too bulky, and so that's that.
I think we want to equate a worst case scenario here. You know, like the pop rocks are going in one bunch along with the soda, I guess as rapidly as you could do it. I mean, as rapidly as someone might drink it.
Big syringe then.
A big syringe?
The myth appeared, I believe, was in 1979, 4 years after the candy was launched, and actually has devastating consequences for the brand name. Sales dropped down to almost nil.
Okay, so one of the things we have to figure out is how are we going to hang this thing?
What about mounting it in our skeleton over there?
Sure.
There's plenty of tie points in the rib cage.
Yeah, and it'll, you know, we'll get to see, you know, fluid dribbling out out of the skeleton, and you wanted the dramatic effect, that'll do it.
Yeah, and of course, actually, the inlet tube will have to come up and out through the mouth of the skeleton.
Yeah.
And you know where the outlet tube is going?
No. Where is the outlet tube going?
Oh, don't make me say it. By the time we're done, he'll be playing the piano just like old times.
What the company tried to do to address that problem was basically they ran around 45 advertisements, big full-page advertisements in magazine, and they wrote about 50,000 letters to different high school headmasters and school headmasters explaining that there was no problem.
Frequently, legends are believed, and what happens is something called ostension. Ostension means that a legend is believed to the point that you change your behavior. Once a belief is out there, it's pretty difficult. You have to take some gargantuan steps to disprove it.
We've got to mix up one last ingredient before the experiment can begin.
I'd say it's about a pH of 2.
Okay. So that's the equivalent of one stomach's contents of hydrochloric acid,
That's 1.7 pounds of water.
Okay.
Gastric juice is secreted, actually, we believe, as a protective mechanism. It's not designed to aid in digestion. It's designed, the hydrochloric acid along with pepsin is designed to kill things. So it's kind of protection over when we were back there fighting the hyenas for the bones.
It might not aid in digestion, but we think a quart of hydrochloric acid will be critical to busting this myth.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Your gloves.
Now, the fun begins.
Once you're pouring the liquid, I'll be opening cans of soda, handing them off to you.
Okay. We're clamped everywhere. All right.
Oh, man. All right, Mike, he's had 2 cans. He's out of control. Oh, my God, he's going for another one. Mikey. All right, Mikey, man, you can't drink those last 2 cans of soda. Dude, you are an animal. Dude, your stomach's gonna burst. All right, here comes the plunger.
Slow down. You didn't drink it that fast. Listen to that. You can hear those pop rocks going for it. Well, that's pretty impressive.
Oh, there goes a burp. Mikey's burping. Come on. Oh, man.
Look how big that stomach's getting.
All right.
It's more or less got it.
All right. Wow. Okay, I wouldn't have called that he could drink all that soda and pop rocks at once.
That's huge. That's like 3 times the size of what it was.
We're not reading any real pressure in here.
By its nature, the human stomach is a capacitance organ. That means it's designed to stretch. Receptive relaxation is the concept in human physiology, so it will relax and stretch up to some limit.
So my guess is Mikey's feeling a little ill right about now.
I know I would be.
Do you think we should give him some time to digest?
Sure, why not?
You got 2 built-in vents, one on either side of the stomach, that should be the places that this air goes if you reach those kinds of pressures.
Even with time for digestion, the pop rocks and soda just don't produce enough gas.
We put 6 cans, about another, almost a liter of acid, 6 doses of pop rocks.
I can still hear it, can't you?
You can still hear it crackling.
Yeah, pop rocks are going.
So, does this myth contain any elements of truth?
The human stomach clearly can rupture. There's no question about that. You can get rupture in blunt trauma, automobile accidents, for instance.
It's starting to get kind of special in here. from a olfactory standpoint.
After a quick reset, we're going to try and see if we can make our pig's stomach explode.
Who the hell could be calling me? I can't answer that. I'm tying a pig's stomach into a skeleton. Clamp.
My name is Fernando Arguis, Vice President General Manager of Pop Rocks Incorporated, and you're watching MythBusters.
Now, it turns out that in the annals of medicine in the last century, there are a half dozen cases of people's stomachs exploding from an excess of CO2, usually from something like baking soda. We're going to see how the bicarbonate of soda compares to Pop Rocks in terms of the expansion of the stomach. Oh, right. 1. Let's do 3.
That's an awful lot of sodium bicarb.
Well, you know, I've taken 2 with heartburn. Let's say someone feels
Unlike
really bad.
Pop Rocks, the baking soda and acid react.
Injecting acid. All right.
The result is carbon dioxide gas. Lots of it.
Okay, 1 down. Yummy, and good for you. The single most popular food item in the United States. 3 cans down. 4. Come on, you gotta drink a little faster, piggy. 5. 6. We've fully drunk the soda. Bicarbonate.
You ready?
Ready. Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. He's still drinking.
That's getting really big.
He can't hold it anymore. Clamp it.
See what the pressure is rating.
Whoa. Okay, that's much bigger than before. It's still hardly reading. It's reading about half a PSI.
There are probably lots of folks out there who have for years and years and years been using baking soda. And in the amounts that would be prescribed to reduce acid, there's very, very little gas formed. It usually stays in solution, comes out, doesn't cause very much by way of distension if you stay within the limits that are recommended.
Here on MythBusters, we're never afraid to push the limits.
1 second. Okay, ready?
Ready. Oh, I feel the pressure.
If you have a stomach that's greatly distended by a large meal, and then you add on top of that either gas in the form of sodium bicarbonate to try and relieve acid indigestion, you can, in those very, very unusual situations, see gastric rupture. But no one should have the impression that this is common by any stretch of the imagination.
Okay.
Whoa! Wow.
Well, that did cause a reaction.
That turned out to be a little too much. Yeah, that's what we call a hell of a Saturday night. Oh my gosh. Totally blue. With the addition of a little more stomach acid and the bicarbonate of soda, what was that, 2 tablespoons?
Yeah.
Just ripped a hole right in the back. I felt the pressure as I was plunging it. You know, wanted to push the plunger back out again.
Yeah.
And then that final bit, I don't know if we were watching what the meter said, but it might have spiked.
Yeah.
I mean, in a body, something like 2 or 3 PSI is a huge amount of pressure.
Yeah.
I can't imagine a human consuming that much crap. Well, maybe I can, actually.
Well, the sodium bicarb with the person's own stomach seems to me to be the main thing.
Yeah.
Somebody that's just taking, you know, eating candy or something, I don't see it happening.
MythBusters tried to contact John Gilchrist, the actor who played Little Mikey. He never returned our calls.
Another one bites the dust.
On this episode of MythBusters,
I'm gonna teach you a lesson.
Buster takes the hot seat in the Mojave Desert for the myth of the Ming Dynasty astronaut.
Oh, this is gonna be a good day.
Adam and Jamie play mad scientist in the quest for free energy.
There ought to be a law against that.
And will Adam's stunt double lose its head at the hands of the killer fan?
Oh, that is horrifying.
Who are the Mythbusters?
Am I missing an eyebrow?
Adam Savage.
I reject your reality and substitute my own.
And Jamie Heineman.
Quack, damn you.
I wouldn't say Jamie's an evil genius.
Between them, more than 30 years special effects experience.
When will the fun ever stop?
They don't just tell the myths, they put them to the test.
Adam, Christine, it's so hot out here. What are we doing here?
Well, we had to come to the middle of nowhere to be able to test the myth of the Ming Dynasty astronaut. The story goes that a 15th century Chinese astrologer decided to see if he could launch himself into space. So he strapped 47 rockets around the base of his throne and had 47 people light 47 fuses all at once. And when they did, apparently, he went up in a puff of smoke. They claimed that he got into space. We're here to see if he did.
According to legend, Ming Dynasty astrologer Wan Hu used newly invented gunpowder rockets in an attempt to become the world's first astronaut in around 1500 AD. Adam and Jamie hit the trail of this ancient myth at Bamboo Sorcery, a little piece of the Orient in the heart of California.
Jamie.
Yeah.
Does this remind you when you were fighting in the Foreign Legion in Dien Bien Phu?
In China, this giant-sized grass grows wild and has long been harvested for making furniture, buildings, and rockets. They're looking for bamboo with an internal diameter of 1.5 inches.
Yes, I mean, that's like 1 3/4 inches. That's, I mean, it's a 1/4 inch over on the inside. Let's get it.
Yeah.
They need enough for 47 rockets, each one a foot in length and stuffed with gunpowder, which is Adam's idea of heaven.
No, I'm totally psyched. I can't wait to see how this thing goes.
This myth is shaping up to be another one of those kid candy store kind of deals.
This is perhaps the least safe cabinet in the shop, and of course, the most fun. The fire cabinet.
Using an ancient Chinese recipe, they cook up some experimental gunpowder. The traditional ingredients are combined with roofing tar, which acts as a binder.
What could be better? I'm making my own fireworks. Remember, kids, no matter how much fun I'm having, under no circumstances should you try this at home. With this amount of gunpowder, the heat generated inside this is going to be considerable, so I'm actually wrapping it in twine to kind of add to its structural integrity. This is actually how the Chinese did their rockets, so I'm going to do the same.
When the rocket is ready, it's outside for a test firing. A force gauge will measure the amount of thrust.
If you are successful with this, you're supposed to get like, what, about 50 pounds of thrust out of it?
Well, if I achieved the exact formulation of a modern rocket, yes.
If Adam's right, these should be some fireworks.
Guys, remember, we can't let our guard down on this. This is where this becomes a bomb. Okay, I'm gonna go down and watch traffic. I don't need to be right here.
So let's all just step back a little from this one. Maybe, I don't know, maybe like here.
Yeah, go ahead.
In 3, 2, 1.
Blast off is a letdown. The rocket has barely half a pound of thrust. Not enough to lift itself off the ground, let alone a payload.
We got like an 80-second burn time here.
1.5, 6, 7. Too slow.
Jamie, I think we proved conclusively that the Chinese had Roman candles.
Takeoff is canceled. Adam goes back to his mixing bowl to see if he can spice things up a little.
There we go. I'm trying to come up with a more energetic mixture of gunpowder to make a good ye olde Chinese rocket. There's no change in the ingredients with these mixtures. It's only the ratios of the ingredients, the saltpeter, the charcoal, and the sulfur. I'm having too much fun.
Adam selects his most potent mixtures and heads back to the test pad.
In this line of questioning, the only way to know without being educated is just to keep on trying different formulations. And at a certain point, we have to stop and just, blow up.
3, 2, 1.
Kind of a boom there.
It just blew the plug out, I think. I guess it was a little too aggressive.
Apparently. 0.29 pounds. Okay, here we go. So we still haven't come up with a rocket engine that could lift itself.
Not yet.
That's pretty good. 3, 2, 1, go.
Looking good.
0.77. Well, that's the best burn yet. I think we need to get some professional help. And then think we need some rocket experts.
They've had help from rocket experts before. In the first ever episode of MythBusters, the Friends of Amateur Rocketry helped Adam and Jamie soup up a Chevy, and then some. Now, the MythBusters are set to call in the Rocketeers once more for the myth of the Ming Dynasty astronaut. But first, a bit of carpentry.
I'm making the legs for my Ming Dynasty chair. It's got to look like an emperor's throne circa 15th century China. It's just the kind of project I like to sink my teeth into that's kind of like relaxing respite from all the science.
Determined to get someone airborne somehow, Adam's making not one rocket chair, but two. In line with the myth, the first will be powered by 47 traditional Chinese rockets. In line with MythBusters, the second will be powered by 47 of something very modern and very dangerous.
I know I'm using nail guns, I know. But it's not really about the technology of the chairs. It's about how far the Emperor went.
The chairs have got to look right, and with the clock ticking, it's all hands on the MythBusters deck.
The little tiny molds is a little detail for the Ming Dynasty chair. We're making little tiles to decorate it with, and this is a little Adam and Jamie tile.
The ornate chairs will look the part, but they're also designed with flight in mind.
One of the key design aspects of the chair is actually these two pieces right here. The reason I did it in 2 levels, I found a chair just like that, and it works perfectly for us because I can strap the rocket in here, and that rocket will be slightly cantilevered out so that all around the chair the rockets are pointing slightly out, which hopefully will provide a little more stability as he shoots towards the sky.
Then it's pink undercoat, red overcoat, and a final touch of gold to render the chairs fit for an astronaut.
Oh, Adam, it's perfect.
Well, in all the myths we've done, Jamie, we've never compiled a file on a story this thick. Free energy is a personal best.
Yeah, it gives me a headache just looking at it.
I mean, I don't see any way that we can test all of these claims. Everything from harnessing the power of the orgone to testing the efficacy of juvenile water.
Free energy has long been a favorite of mad scientists.
Good scene, isn't it? One man crazy, 3 very sane spectators.
The movie version usually involves a dastardly scheme which turns upon the crazed inventor's ability to suck hair-raising quantities of energy from the environment, free, gratis, and for nothing.
It's alive. Oh, it's alive. It's alive. It's alive. It's alive.
But can Adam and Jamie find a way to cut their power bill? Our very own mad scientists have downloaded plans for free energy devices from the internet and are going to test them out with the help of Dr. Geo Hamzi of MIT. First up, a contraption which, it is claimed, can suck energy from the curvature of space.
Gentlemen, what we have here is a G-strain amplifier, which I built from parts you find at Radio Shack.
G-strain, as opposed to F-strain?
The G-strain amplifier looks suspiciously like what we on planet Earth call a ring oscillator, something you might find in a flashing bicycle light. In this experiment, a lithium battery is hooked up to a motor. An identical battery is hooked up to a motor and a so-called G-strain amplifier. According to the plans, the second motor will keep running longer by drawing on the cosmic energy of the universe. Use the force, guys. Myth-turned Christine is roped in to keep her eye on the experiment.
Okay, is there any paint you want me to watch dry as well?
No, just watch carefully, and then the minute that it stops, let us know and hit the timer, okay?
Okay.
All right.
So now we wait in the name of science.
Well, we're up to 40 minutes, and I'm still not asleep. It's still going.
Then, in an intriguing development, one motor slows down. Could free energy be keeping the other going? No dice. It's the free energy motor that's on the wane.
That means that this is not free energy, it's using energy.
Yeah.
Far from recharging the battery, the G-strain amplifier is draining it. The experiment is left to run all day, just in case cosmic energy makes a late appearance. Don't hold your breath.
Okay, so it's been a day. Have we managed to suck power from the curvature of space?
Well, I see one motor going and one motor not going. And guess what? The motor that's not going is the free energy device.
So could we, from here on in perpetuity, stop referring to this as a G-strain amplifier and call it a ring oscillator?
Ring oscillator? I'd be happy to do that.
So this one, busted, we can put it to bed, and now let's send our lawyers after the guys who charge us $25 for this little diagram.
Officially, the first Earthling to leave the planet was Russian cosmonaut Yuri Gagarin in 1961. Gagarin blasted into orbit at almost 18,000 miles per hour aboard the Vostok 1. But a Chinese legend claims that astrologer Wen Hu beat Gagarin into space aboard his rocket chair way back in 1500. There aren't many things you can't do in San Francisco, but space launching a Chinese astrologer is one of them. So the MythBusters team heads for the hills and beyond to the Mojave Desert. Their cosmic convoy makes for the test area, where with a federal permit, you can put even the most explosive myths on trial. Like, did Wen Hu really win the space race? With the help of some friends of amateur rocketry, Mission Control has established a safe distance from the launch pad. But the savage desert heat is too much for one would-be rocketeer. It's going to be a long day for the redhead.
Hot.
To make sure the day goes off with a bang, the rocket experts have come equipped with a recipe for super-strength gunpowder. Adam's appetite for this myth is quickly restored.
You making pudding?
This is just like a cooking show.
Yeah.
To make 47 period rockets, sift a large helping of gunpowder and gently fold in a spoonful of tar.
And you'll find that if you add the sauce to the powder, you'll get a very explosive mix. Oh, yes, it's wonderful.
The stronger mixture is only half the story. The Rocketeers have also added a nozzle, which, by narrowing the exhaust aperture, increases the pressure inside the rocket. More pressure means more thrust and better performance, unless it all goes wrong, in which case you've got a bomb on your hands.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Woohoo!
That's perfect!
That's with the nozzle.
Oh, this is going to be a good day.
With the nozzle, the rocket's performance leaps to around 5 pounds of thrust. So the production line swings into gear. 47 rockets are packed, primed, and strapped to chair number 1.
Well, we're going to have close to 50 pounds of gunpowder sitting right here, and I guess we should be careful with it. So far, I have yet to see the gunpowder ignite itself, but I guarantee you if I saw any kind of smoldering or anything, I'm leaving very quickly.
At ground control, opinion about the likely outcome is divided.
We're not even going to see this thing. It's just going to go poof, and there's going to be an enormous cloud of smoke and...
I think it'll go up about 10 feet and go poof.
You think so?
Oh, yeah.
You think we'll have liftoff?
I think we'll have liftoff. I really honestly believe you will.
Meanwhile, another team is giving chair number 2 special treatment.
Just in case the Chinese had built some super efficient rockets back then, we have 47 what are called I motors, which are very powerful, 50-pound thrust, 12-inch long rockets. And we're going to attach 47 of those to the second chair to see what kind of launch he could have gotten if everything was as good as it could be.
MythBusters veteran Eric Gates of the JATO rocket myth is impressed.
This is out on a limb. This is definitely one of the most far-reaching things that we've done with rocket motors. It should be a lot of fun to see one who actually take a trip.
So far, this myth is deficient in the Chinese astrologer department to the tune of 1. No prizes for guessing who gets to play the part of the daredevil Oriental astronaut.
We should put both legs in first, don't you think?
I think you might be right.
Or do you do it differently?
I put on my pants one leg at a time. Oh, he's a picture. He looks great. Oh, I'm gonna teach you a lesson. I think Buster, AKA One Who, is ready for his launch.
And rocket chair number 1 is ready too.
This is the most dangerous part. 80 pounds of gunpowder, 22 idiots, 1 crash test dummy. Priceless.
In the myth of free energy, Adams found plans on the internet for a device that claims to suck power from solar rays.
I've got one here that I'm actually kind of jazzed about. It's basically a temperature wheel, sometimes called a Minto wheel after its inventor.
The temperature wheel consists of pairs of tanks joined by a pipe. Half of the tanks are filled with propane and placed in water. When the water is heated by the sun, the propane vaporizes and condenses in the top tanks, which become heavier, and the wheel rotates. The upshot? Free energy. Intoxicated by the sweet scent of power, Adam gets down to work. With world domination in his sights, he ropes in his evil accomplice and metal expert, Scotty.
Can you do a fillet weld in there, or do you have to, is that all right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've bridged bigger gaps than that before.
Scotty welds at Adam slots, and before you can say, free energy my foot, the temperature wheel takes shape.
I'm not sure what it's going to do, but it looks cool.
Doesn't it, though?
So you're going to put some kind of flammable liquid in all these and then light them all off at the same time?
Fill half of them full of propane, shoot a bullet, light it on fire, the whole thing like that. You know, what I can't wait for is the look on the guy's face when I bring these in to have them filled with propane.
There ought to be a law against that.
There probably is.
Make that definitely. Adam's not finding this such a gas after all.
Okay, sorry about that.
Free energy suddenly seems further away than ever as his temperature wheel springs a leak.
This is a problem because we've got propane leaking out of a hole. We can't weld that hole until we get rid of all the propane, like all of it. We have to go back to the shop now, and I don't know what the hell we're gonna do.
Back at base, a web-sourced free energy kit has arrived.
Finally, we got something that's not just plans, it's actually all the parts and the plans we need to tap into real free energy. Apparently, if you have this box hooked up to something like a 100-foot radio antenna, you can power a clock radio. I don't know, still seems like a 9-volt battery is a better bet.
Radio waves are a form of radiation and can be converted into electricity. But will it be enough to power a clock radio? First, Adam assembles the box. Then he rigs up a 100-foot-long horizontal antenna. Then he prepares to ground the device. He's about to find out the hard way that Jamie's warehouse is miswired. Now, there's no question that Adam's a bright spark.
That might have been, I don't know, a bad noise.
But he's no electrician.
I'm releasing the mysterious blue smoke here. The problem is, once you release the mysterious blue smoke, electronics don't work anymore. Luckily, we accidentally ordered 2 of these kits.
Adam soldiers on in the face of probable electrocution.
You know, it's all a learning experience.
Radio Wave Energy Extractor Mark II.
Hey, Jamie, check this out. I hook up the antenna, I'm getting almost half a volt. You know, it's probably enough to power the display on a digital watch.
Yeah, I think you would need about 1.5 volts or so.
Yeah.
And so that means that you would have to have 3 of these.
So, 3 large devices to power 1 tiny wristwatch. For free energy, it's pretty costly.
Free energy just doesn't seem that efficient to me. It's so cumbersome and takes so much energy to get the tiniest amounts of power. You might as well just go get a battery.
In the myth of the Ming Dynasty astronaut, 0 hour is approaching. When Wan Hu took the hot seat in 1500 AD, he had 47 assistants on hand to light the 47 fuses, which is where Adam and Jamie part company with tradition.
Guys, you're gonna hook up the wires? We're gonna clear the hell out. Let's everyone go that way.
The launch pad is cleared, and everyone retires to the bunker, from where the ignition switch can be thrown in relative safety. This may be the moment where Wan Hu began to have second thoughts.
It's kind of beautiful out here in an eerie way. It's like so serene and calm. Something very violent in the middle of all this serenity is about to happen.
Adam's tickled pink.
I'm staring at a Chinese-dressed crash test dummy on a throne strapped to 70 pounds of gunpowder. I just had another one of those MythBusters moments.
For Buster, it's no laughing matter.
Okay, I'm gonna arm it.
He's arming the system. We're gonna fire in 10 seconds.
A centuries-old mystery is about to be solved. Will it be lift off or lights out?
2, 1.
Well, it was fast, whatever it was.
Just like Wan Hu, Buster's vanished. But he's no astronaut. In fact, he's toast.
Get the dummy before it goes.
His ass is on fire! And here I thought the elevator of death was the most damage he'd ever withstand. He is burnt to a crisp.
Buster's screwed. I think there's hardly a single patch of skin left on his body that is uncharred. And, you know, frankly, I don't think this is something that we can really fix. This time we're gonna have to, like, start over from scratch with Buster. We might get some of his bones or something, but Buster is gone as we know him.
Buster, AKA Chinese astrologer, was completely obliterated. I mean, the amount of heat was just unfathomable.
A moment's silence for Wan Hu. The heat from the rockets caused multiple failure and a wipeout instead of a blast-off.
What we've just replicated is pretty identical to the eyewitness reports. 47 packed rockets, black powder, and Buster was taken to another world in a puff of smoke. As soon as Buster cools down enough and his flesh is no longer molten, we're going to put on this new Chinese suit on him, get out throne number 2, which has 47 brand new rockets strapped to it, and we're gonna see what kind of lift Buster might have gotten in the best of all possible circumstances.
47 modern rockets should give almost 2,500 pounds of thrust. Buster weighs in at 180 pounds. This time, gravity's got a fight on its hands.
We have a fair suspicion that this chair is actually going to go somewhere. And so lest Buster just fall out in the first couple of feet, I thought we should probably anchor him a little better than we did the last time.
Looks like Buster's ready for the second shot.
Okay, everybody, you're going to hear a countdown, and when the countdown goes, these rocket motors are going to burn for 4.5 seconds. So be aware that this thing is going to be going crazy. Just look out and stay away.
This is it, Buster. You're on your own.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Well, there you go. Well, he definitely got off the ground. Oh, my poor chair. Oh, man.
I'm glad we tied him in.
I think everything held as good as we could have asked it to hold.
Lost a leg.
Leg joints came off this time.
The high-speed camera shows Buster did get airborne before flipping over in a rocket-powered rodeo to oblivion.
Well, guys, I guess that's myth busted.
For one, there's no way you're going to get 47 rockets to fire at once in the Ming Dynasty, let alone how hard it was to do now.
Yeah, and even if you could, it's just going to go up in a fireball, you know?
And even if you got all of that to work perfectly, there's no way that this chair with these rockets is getting to 17,800 miles an hour and into orbit.
Yeah, myth busted.
Myth busted.
Completely.
Let's go home. I need to get into a pool.
What do you got there, Adam?
I have got the part of a really fun myth to test. It's actually a total classic. Can a ceiling fan, while it's spinning, chop your head off?
Nice.
Yeah, and the myth is actually told in usually a couple of different versions. In one, husband and wife are getting frisky and he's all dressed up in a costume and he comes to leap towards her and he jumps a little too high and gets beheaded. And in another one, kids are like jumping up and down on a bed, and again, one of them jumps too high.
So, 2 myths, 2 rigs. The myth of the jumping kid calls for a rig to raise a head into the fan from below. For the myth of the lover's leap, they'll need a rig to carry a head into the ceiling fan at neck level. Which begs another question.
Wait, before you say raise a head, where are we gonna get a head?
Well, we're going to have to duplicate one. And we've often done it with ballistics gelatin, but in this case, we might have to actually put, I mean, it may be gross, but like a real spine in there. Obviously, we won't be able to get a human spine, but what I was thinking was something like a pig's spine.
While Tori tracks down a dead pig, the girls go shopping.
Scotty, what do you think they sell here?
I think this might be the place.
Think we could find some fans here?
If there is such a thing as a fan of death, it's bound to be at the imaginatively named House of Fans.
So can you show us what the most common ceiling fan you'd have that most people would have in their house?
I sure can. One of the most common ones is this one here with the lights at the bottom. It's your standard 52-inch blade fan. It's got wood blades on it.
This fan fits the bill for the basic myth, but the girls want something more dangerous. Leave it to the MythBusters. Don't try this one at home.
If you wanted to get as close as you could to chopping somebody's head off,
Well, if I was,
what would you recommend? You are the fan expert.
Okay.
Bring it on.
If I was so inclined to do that to somebody, I would maybe think of an industrial style fan, something that's going to maybe move a little bit faster, blades are a little bit stronger.
Brian boasts one particularly head-turning industrial fan, complete with powerful motor and metal blades. It's love at first sight for these chopaholics.
That one looks really dangerous.
I think that one's scary, and we can make it even scarier. It has metal blades.
Oh boy, what we can do with this.
Back at base, the hunter returns.
All right, let's see it.
I hope you guys are hungry, because I got 150 pounds of pork.
Are you serious?
You guys are gonna love this.
Oh boy.
Vegetarian Carrie didn't have the backbone for this shopping trip.
Vegetarian,
Thank you for not making me go.
You wanted to use pig.
It was pretty bad. Whoa. Whoa. Oh, yeah. Look, this is gonna be perfect. See, it's still got all its meat, so it'll be as close to a real human neck as we could get.
Yeah, I thought you guys were going to get like just a science class regular spine that just looks like a model. I didn't think we were getting anything with carnage attached.
Go get some barbecue sauce.
I can't believe they got a spine with the meat on it. This is disgusting.
Carrie's found herself in a vegetarian nightmare. Carnivorous Tori gets down to the job of making a home for the pig spine. In keeping with MythBusters tradition, it'll be Adam's head on the chopping block. In a previous episode, gelatin molds of Adam's head were used to test the myth that tongue studs attract lightning. The guys discovered that you're only sure to light up if you're sporting a piercing the size of a doorknob. For the myth of the killer ceiling fan, the dummy's head will have to be as close to the real thing as possible. It's a gruesome prospect.
I'm gonna cut this to make it fit in our mold.
Are you gonna do that now?
Yeah, do you wanna?
Yeah.
I'm leaving the room. I'm leaving the room.
Pig's spine will stiffen up the neck, but how about the head? In the myth of the jumping kid, there's no guarantee that the neck will reach the fan at all.
Now what about skull? Because I'm thinking if you're raising up and you're jumping, you're gonna have to jump so fast to get your neck up to that level that I would think it'd be more likely to get scalped.
Absolutely, and so probably some human cranium. We've done this before when we did penny
cranium?
drop.
We have human cranium?
I have the human cranium in storage, yeah.
You would.
We have one of everything at MythBusters.
While the others plot the dummy's internal structure, squeamish Carrie busies herself with making molds in the vacuform machine.
Once we get them out like this, we're going to glue both of these negatives together, put them upside down, fill them with ballistics gel, a little bit of cranium, and a spine that should emulate the insides of a human.
Using his special effects know-how, Tori makes latex arteries, which are filled with fake blood. In the interests of scientific accuracy, of course.
This is the artery. When that blade comes flying through there, blood is gonna spray all over the room. Kind of reminds me of Alien, when the thing pops out of the guy's stomach and shoots across the table.
It's alive!
This is so bizarre. This is so bizarre.
Carrie's nightmare deepens as the ghoulish head takes shape. Next step, skin. A coating of latex is painted on the insides of the molds. In goes the cranium. The molds are then filled with ballistics gel, used by forensic experts to replicate flesh and tissue. And finally, Carrie's favorite, arteries and spine.
That is one of the grossest things I think I have ever witnessed. Oh my God, that actually worked out pretty good, didn't it?
Yes, it did. Yes, it did.
The heads are left to set in ice, and the build team return to the problem of the rigs that will deliver them into the fans. Never one to shun a shortcut, Tori makes a beeline for Jamie.
So what I need is some kind of hydraulic lifter.
You know what I've got is a thing that we built for a commercial some time ago, and it was made to lift a little kid up into frame on camera.
That'll be perfect.
It's like 50, 60 pounds, I believe we had sitting on it.
That's perfect, because I mean, the myth is that somebody jumped, on a bed and jumped into the ceiling fan.
Jamie's scissor jack saves Tori a load of time and effort. Meanwhile, Scotty and Carrie scout out a test chamber. Scotty manufactures the rig for the myth of the lover's leap. A track and dolly to carry the head neck first into the blades. First up on the MythBusters chopping block,
I'm gonna feed you the wires first.
Okay.
Will be the common household ceiling fan.
Okay.
Once it's in place, Tori checks that the scissor jack is positioned at the correct level.
This lift is about 1.5 feet. So that'll give us enough lift to get it safely into the, or unsafely, into the fan.
Adam swings by death row to lighten the mood.
I feel like I'm in Laughing here. Bye, guys.
Let's do it.
See you guys later.
All right, man. Thanks for helping us.
Finally, bulletproof plastic is fitted to protect the team while they observe the experiments from outside the test chamber. The stage is set. The dummy is unveiled.
That is nasty.
In the myth of free energy, Adam's been deflated by the discovery that his temperature wheel leaks gas. He's on a collision course with his welder, Scotty.
I've got a bone to pick with you. We tried filling these things with propane today.
Because I can smell it.
Yeah, it's leaking out of your weld.
Scotty protests that she didn't know Adam intended to fill the tanks with propane.
Well, first I said that I needed gas-tight welds from you. The people that filled this want nothing more to do with this.
Sorry.
Well, it looks like every possible thing that could be failing on my rig is actually failing. And I know this seems consistent, but there was a time I was really good at making things. Oh, no. Uh-oh. Oh. Thank you, Bob.
Adam comes up with an unusual solution to his leaking wheel.
I am actually pulling a vacuum on each one of these pipes so that I can capillary some glue into the leaky or problematic areas of my welds and then cover over it with a engine epoxy to eliminate all the problems you would have welding a casting to a steel pipe. Crazy glue. I need crazy glue.
On goes the crazy glue, followed by some hard-wearing engine epoxy. For the temperature wheel to have any chance of success, it must be gas-tight. Adam leaves the epoxy to set and turns his power-crazed mind to the next free energy device.
What is next?
The Bedini motor.
The Bedini motor. You know, the Bedini motor is like the holy grail of the free energy freaks.
It couldn't be simpler. A battery drives a motor, which spins up a flywheel, which charges wire coils, which in turn recharge the battery. And bingo, a perpetual motion or over-unity machine.
It's important to keep an open mind and realize that all the principles that drive the over-unity machines operate outside of everything you've ever heard about science.
MIT's Dr. Geo Holmesy has been helping the guys by assembling the contraption. And with his pedigree, they're quickly in business.
Free energy, man.
Here we go. Activate the modulator.
Modulator activated.
A modulator switches the motor on and off, so preserving power while the flywheel keeps on spinning, in theory, replenishing the battery.
Okay, it's spinning up. I can hear it getting slower.
Yeah, it seems to be.
I don't think I need a meter for this one.
In a sudden burst of free energy, the Bedini machine runs down.
Sounds like my grandfather.
Oh, getting sick. It's draining more from the battery on each cycle than it's putting back in when it recharges.
That's the one big problem with perpetual motion machines. They're not perpetual.
Over unity, huh?
That's an efficiency of over 100%.
Kind of makes you feel all warm and fuzzy inside, don't it?
If you mean it makes me feel like I feel about the Easter Bunny or Santa Claus, yeah, that kind of warm and fuzzy, because it's a fantasy!
The fortunes of free energy are now riding on the re-glued temperature wheel. If it comes unstuck, Adam's dreams of glory bite the dust.
But nothing is leaking today. Everything is good.
The temperature wheel stands in a tank of water, which will be heated by studio lights in place of the sun. Jamie's baffled by Adam's creation.
I don't know what to think of this contraption. I think in theory it actually ought to work, as I understand it, but you know, actually come to think of it, I'm not really sure that I do understand it.
The idea behind the Minto wheel is that these tanks are arranged in pairs, each one connected to its neighbor opposite the wheel. And there's some propane in here. Propane is a terrific natural refrigerant and a coolant. It's got a boiling point that's below room temperature. So there's some propane in here, and when we heat it up with the water, it bubbles up into this tank, making it heavier. And as each one successively does that and gets heavier, the wheel starts turning. This is the idea. We'll see if it actually works.
And before your very eyes, free energy is revealed to be as elusive as ever.
I'm not getting satisfactory operation out of my wheel here. Come on. It's not happening. I think I need to abandon the water because I think the propane tanks going through the water isn't working.
The guys decide to change tactics and heat the tanks directly with the lights.
Okay, so it starts to move.
Adam just can't keep his hands off.
Well,
I know, I'm impatient.
We know this.
I don't want it to get too hot. Oh, I'm seeing something. Is it moving? What do you think?
Trying to determine whether, I think I'm seeing it move really slowly. It's going this way.
With all the speed of continental drift, the wheel is turning.
I get a full revolution. I call this a solar generator. I don't care how slow it goes. Come on,
it's breaking free.
It's breaking free of the bonds of the energy conglomerates.
It's just slow, you know, it's silly.
We're now working on almost 3/4 of a full revolution. It is the slowest machine I've ever seen go, but it is going, and it's working on thermal energy. I don't think this is the kind of thing that's going to end up powering a generator at your house. I mean, the fastest machine that anyone's built from this, and I know I'll be corrected on this, but that I could research, the fastest machine yet built was like 1 revolution per minute. I mean, that's not a blistering energy producing speed. You know, maybe you could, I don't know what you could do, you know, fan your sheep or something at that speed.
A solar sheep fan is hardly a revolution in power generation, and it's not even free energy. Strictly speaking, the temperature wheel is just an overly elaborate and highly inefficient solar generator. Free energy, hot air.
So free energy across the board, busted.
Yeah, they're totally and absolutely busted. You know, it just frustrates the heck out of me going through these plans. They're so confusing. They're so difficult to actually follow because they're mixing actual science with a lot of crap.
Nonetheless, we were able to do it with a reasonable number of tests, and I'd say it's busted, 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 and I don't want to get an email about it.
Back at the myth of the killer ceiling fan, the ballistics gel head, together with pig spine, human cranium, and latex arteries and skin, is strapped onto the scissor jack. Adams never modeled for such a realistic dummy. The older, wiser heads decide to test out the rig and find it comes up short.
No!
Who measured this?
That would have sucked.
Adam can't believe his eyes.
Where do you want it to hit? About like there?
I, for one, thought nobody would have built this whole rig without double checking where the head's going to fall on the fan. I mean, who would do that? Apparently, they would do that. This is the first thing Jamie or I would have thought of. But yeah, it's okay, you know, they're learning, they're good kids.
Put the box right on there and be ready.
A sheepish Tory raises the head.
I don't know who measured that. I'm gonna really give it to him.
Yeah, why don't you give it to him when you find out?
When I find out. All right, gonna seal the chamber.
The fan spins up to top speed, which they calculate to be 26 miles per hour using a tachometer. At last, the head is in place for myth number 1. Jumping up into a household fan from below. Don't try this at home.
Everybody ready?
Ready.
Ready?
So ready.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
The head is rocked, but it doesn't roll.
It really didn't have much of an impact. It didn't cut through the ballistics gel, didn't crack the skull open.
That actually surprises me because this stuff is not quite as tough as muscle, but it certainly held together for this.
The household fan spins too fast for the head to reach neck level, but too slow to do any real damage. The dummy takes the blows on the top of the head, and the blades just bounce right off. Myth number 1 is busted. Time for myth number 2, the lover's leap.
All right, we're ready for this experiment here. We're gonna push this head straight in at the fan, right at the neck level. We got this track set up. We got a rope around this pulley going out to the wall to our control panel, and we're just gonna pull the rope, sending this guy straight into the fan.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Oh!
Whoa!
That's the last we saw of that ceiling fan.
Broke the fan.
There's no damage on the neck whatsoever.
Not even a hickey?
Nothing.
This time, the dummy gets a sore throat, but kept its head. When it comes to a household fan, both myths are busted. It's time to step things up a gear. Bring on the industrial fan.
Wow. It's like a little tornado down here.
A lot more power.
That's why we want to get this one. It's like a little tornado. The blades are like little knives, and it goes so much faster than the regular fan.
All right.
In fact, it goes 54 miles per hour, twice as fast as the household fan. Will this one prove deadly? Once again, they test the jumping up from below myth first.
2, 1.
Oh! Chunks! Yes!
All right. Oh, that did some damage. Hi there.
Oh!
That's That's got to be at least a concussion. At least a concussion, maybe a fracture.
And certainly a bloody nose. This time the dummy really takes a hit from the high-speed metal blades.
He got, oh, look, he cracked into his skull.
A little fracture.
That's skull. And it definitely made a mark in the skull.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it might not kill you, but you wouldn't want to have this happen to you.
No kidding. Jumping up into an industrial fan is a bad idea, period. Next in line, the big one. Hold onto your hats. We're going neck first.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Oh, jugular!
Oh.
We splattered the walls with blood. All right, I want to see the high speed.
Oh, that was some good horror movie stuff.
The team's special effects expertise is paying dividends.
Oh, look at that! Look at that!
Oh.
Right. Crack!
You don't really want to see this one, do you?
Look at the blood flying.
Oh my God!
Really?
So brutal.
It not only sliced his artery, it went in for a second round and just chopped the extra.
I'll go on.
The fan actually sliced through his neck, through the jugular, and even into the vertebrae. I mean, that says deadly to me.
Deadly, but not decapitation. Myth still busted.
So this is the most powerful fan you can buy. And obviously it wasn't enough power, so now we have to create our own fan. And I think we're going to start with a lawnmower.
This dummy's head is coming off. The plan is to suspend a lawnmower engine from the ceiling, attach large, razor-sharp blades, and let it rip. Scotty fashions the blades from sheet metal, and there's no room for error.
So right now I'm using the edge finder and the digital readout to find the exact center of our blades, which is very important because if we don't get this thing centered, it's very likely that it will blow apart and go sending blades flying into the wall, possibly through the wall where we're standing.
While Scotty finds dead center, Tori rigs up the housing for the lawnmower engine. Scotty adds the final deadly touch. This should be a real close shave.
Oh yes, nice and sharp. I think his head's gonna fly right off.
The homemade blades are attached.
Oh, that looks so good.
Then a finishing touch from a team player.
So I'm gonna make the ultimate sacrifice here. As long as you're gonna do it with me, let's make sure everyone knows who it is. There we go. All right. You'll have to tell me how it turns out because I can't see a damn thing.
Judging by the Coke bottles on this thing, he can't see a thing either.
Tori starts up the fan. With the heavy blades, it takes some turning over.
It's getting faster.
It looks pretty deadly.
It does, and pretty balanced. Nice work. You guys ready? And 3, 2, 1.
Oh! Oh my God! Oh my God! Look at it! Look at it!
Oh, that is horrifying.
Brace yourselves for a slice of slow-mo.
Oh, dude, it's just going right through. Wow.
What happened?
It's a horror show in there. Oh, and now it's just carving it up. Look, glasses hovering in midair. Wait, here they come, here they come.
I hope you didn't even add an extra pair.
Oh, that is so great.
This head is dead, but the spine is still intact.
It didn't decapitate him, but it's definitely a deadly blow.
Scotty and Tori, this one goes into the MythBusters Hall of Fame. I mean, this is perhaps one of the most upsettingly lethal things you guys have ever built.
But still no head. I can't believe how hard it is to chop a head off.
It is apparently very difficult to chop a head off. This injury that this thing inflicted was definitely lethal, but it still didn't behead our dummy. I mean, I think that's busted.
That is
Totally
busted.
Unfortunately.
on this episode of MythBusters.
In every generation, a myth comes along that does not thrill us.
Adam and Jamie get wrapped up in their biggest build yet.
I don't often say this, but it's looking to be nigh impossible to pull this off.
As they find out that making a flying raft is not all plain sailing. And speaking of planes,
do cell phones cause airplanes to crash?
Carrie, Tori, and Grant tackle a traveler's tale with a familiar ring.
Needles all over the place.
And 3, 2, 1.
Who are the MythBusters? Adam Savage. And Jamie Heineman.
This is gonna kill you.
Between them, over 30 years special effects experience.
That's what I'm talking about!
Joining them, Tori Belleci.
Very excited about this.
Carrie Byron.
Look, he cracked into his skull.
And Grant Imahara.
Don't say anything.
They don't just tell the myths, they put them to the test. Take one large deserted aircraft hangar, add a ridiculous amount of plastic, and one MythBuster trussed up like a Christmas turkey.
This wins as the strangest position I've ever been in on the show.
Don't you love how he qualifies it with on this show?
Either the MythBusters are branching out into performance art, or something's gone very wrong.
Adam, what myth do we have this time?
Well, this one is pretty darn simple. It comes right off the MythBuster fan site. And it is simply that if you fill a raft with helium, that you could actually fly on that raft.
Whoa, 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 hold it right there. What did you say?
That if you fill a raft with helium, that you could actually fly on that raft.
That's what I thought you said.
Well, on the face of it, I'm not so sure about this one, but there's only one way to find out.
So, what is the plan?
Well, I figured we should start small. We've got a little inflatable dinghy. Maybe we can fill that up with helium and see what happens.
As we know, helium holds a special place in a MythBuster's heart. It helped Adam hover.
I'd rather just stay under 100 feet, thank you, over.
It carried a cute kid.
You ready?
Yes.
Look at that!
Oh my gosh!
And it came wrapped in pigskin when the guys took a punt on a helium football. But now they'll use helium to try and make one of their inflatables fly. And if that doesn't work, this being MythBusters, they'll build their own helium-filled flying machine.
Deflation.
And the initial inflatable they're going to try is the MythBusters dinghy. Before any helium hovering happens, the deflated dinghy is first wave.
Take it on up. Okay, exactly 72. That's what the scale looks like to me.
Then it's filled with air. Set vacuums to blow.
I love it.
Isn't it great how Adam finds delight in the tiniest thing?
Look at that. Yeah.
Jamie, however, is a much tougher audience.
This is good.
Next, they work out the volume of the inflated dinghy.
20.5.
Okay, so 20.5 cubic feet.
Then they let the air out.
All right, here's your helium.
And put the helium in.
Okay, listen, just on the off chance, the very, very off chance this thing becomes lighter than air, I'm gonna sit in it while we fill it, okay?
With the dinghy fit to burst with helium, will it turn miraculously into a magic carpet?
I'm gonna jump out, but get ready, hold on to the line in case it floats. All right, here we go.
Oh, it didn't float. What do you think?
Thanks to the helium, the raft has lost some weight.
I call that about maybe 4 pounds of buoyancy.
But nowhere near enough to achieve liftoff.
Well, our inflatable life raft, it's not remotely enough volume of helium, and it's way too heavy to get even buoyant by itself, let alone lift Jamie or I.
Well, that didn't work very well. The helium only removed 4 pounds from its total weight.
Yeah, no, it's obvious that if this is going to work, it has to be a raft that is much, much larger. It needs the volume of helium, and it has to lift one of us.
So they drag out an airline life raft to go through the whole process again.
82 pounds? Yeah. Okay.
This yellow peril is 8 times the size of the original dinghy, and filling it with helium reduces its weight by almost a quarter.
It's 60 pounds.
But they're still no closer to liftoff. While the guys ponder their next move, one question needs answering pronto, and that is, what's so special about this helium stuff anyway? Well, helium is the second lightest element, weighing just 0.17 grams per liter. By contrast, nitrogen, which makes up about 80% of the air we breathe, is 10 times heavier. The more helium you have, the more air it displaces, and the greater the lift. But just how much helium do you need to get your average MythBuster airborne?
You know, I'm disappointed. I had higher hopes for that life raft. It's 25 feet in diameter, and it couldn't even lift itself filled with helium, let alone one of us.
Well, we've got one more larger thing yet to try, and that's an escape slide from a commercial airliner.
Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah, I'm guessing at least double the volume of that life raft.
All right, let's do that one.
When we last saw the escape slide, it was drifting like a leaf towards Earth with Buster on board.
Oh, look, it's sailing.
Wow.
So far.
It was the smoothest ride he's ever had.
Wow!
What we want now is the reverse journey. Like in the myth, we want it to rise up and fly away. The slide's volume measures 325 cubic feet, 15 times bigger than the dinghy.
So let's deflate it and fill it with... No. Let's run it up to the truck and slide down.
Boys will be boys.
Oh, Jamie, you're so cynical. Adam just wants to demonstrate correct technique when using an escape slide. And that definitely ain't it.
That is too much fun.
Right, time for answers. Will 325 cubic feet of helium be enough to make the slide slip its moorings and ride the thermals?
That's good. I can't help but noticing that even though it's tethered off, it ain't flying.
That's it.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Well, I'm looking at 121 pounds. That's just about 40 pounds lighter than the dead weight, which is pretty much exactly what the math said it should be.
I think it might be time to pull the plug.
That's fast. Oh my God, there's a lot of helium in the air. You know, I'm starting to think this myth is busted.
But, you know, we can't leave it at that. In fact, we're just getting to the fun part right about now.
Yeah, it's time to take the math we've gleaned from the rafts that we've filled with helium so far and calculate exactly the size of raft we need that is both seaworthy and that can fly you or me.
Yeah, one of us has to get airborne.
All right, Grant, sounds like we have another cell phone myth.
This one is a conspiracy theory. The reason you can't use your cell phone on an airplane is not because it'll interfere with the in-flight instruments, but because it forces you to use the in-flight phone in the back of your seat.
Ah, because it's way more expensive to use their phone than your cell phone. That's brilliant. Sounds like we get to crash a plane.
No, we're not gonna crash a plane.
Once upon a time, just being on an airplane was entertainment enough. These wide-eyed folk would never have guessed that one day flying would become so routine, so downright boring, passengers would need a host of electronic gadgets to help make the time fly. But in the name of safety, cell phone silence must be maintained at all times. Is it a ruse designed to force you to fork out for the seat phone? Or can a cell phone signal make your flight drop out of the sky?
It seems to me that the biggest challenge you're going to face with this is not technical, it's legal.
Yeah, actually, it's illegal for us to take a working, switched-on cell phone into the air.
However, it's not illegal for us to take a cell phone into a working cockpit and work with it on the ground. But that doesn't guarantee us any success of interference.
So in typical MythBusters fashion, we're going to make our own cockpit and control all the variables, and then take that to an airport and see what happens to the signal.
With a flight of fancy out of the question, Tori and Grant are going to build their very own working cockpit. And there's only one place a Mythbuster goes when he needs plane parts. Faith Aircraft in Sacramento is an Aladdin's cave of aeronautical offcuts.
Where all the dead planes go. Mostly made up of Cessnas, Piper, Beech.
Kenny Faith's already been our wingman on a couple of myths. A little while back, Adam paid him a visit when he got the urge to shred a plane. This aircraft cache also includes a load of pre-loved avionics. These are exactly what the guys will need to test the cell phone myth.
Okay, well, here's the list, and most of these instruments are communication and navigation, things that were identified as something that a cell phone might interfere with. Gyro-stabilized magnetic compass system, VHF communications transceiver, navigation receiver, and VOR localized.
Grant's got a flight deck shopping list to rival the Pentagon.
GPS.
But luckily, this second-hand supermarket's got the lot. These bits and pieces form a plane's ground-to-air communications.
Power to Kenny, how much is this going to run us? Over? Too much.
Houston, we have a problem.
Abort mission.
The high-tech avionics are really all they need to test this telephone tall tale. But these guys want to go that extra Mythbusters mile and find a cockpit to put them in. It won't get off the ground, but at least it'll look authentic.
We're getting some turbulence. This is the captain speaking.
Yeah. We live like rock stars.
Well, that's pretty good.
Easy to transport.
I think it'd be a good choice for what you're trying to do.
All right, so
we'll take it.
We're gonna give it some 28-inch rims, dual woofers in the back,
all gold inlay,
a DVD player. This thing's gonna be tight.
With the cockpit picked up onto the pickup, the myth busting can soon begin. But first, the boys have been digging up a bit of history.
The airlines and the flight attendants make a really big deal out of having you turn off your cell phones and your personal electronic devices. But have you ever heard of a case where one of those items caused a crash?
Actually, in 2000, a plane did go down near Zurich, killing everybody aboard. And they think it's because one of the passengers received a text message. And then following that, another passenger made a cell phone call. And they know this because they recovered the data from the crash, and they showed that the instrumentation went wrong at the time of the calls.
So there's definitely evidence to suggest that cell phones and planes make a bad combination. To put this to the test, the team has got more instruments than a flying orchestra, but no idea how to make them work.
Morning, I'm Grant.
Nice to meet you, Grant.
Cue aerospace engineer Jeff Guto.
We've got a lot of work here.
Yeah, well, in typical MythBusters fashion, we've only got one day.
Okay.
So at the end of today, we've got to have a working cockpit full of instrumentation.
Okay. Since this isn't going on a real airplane, we can skip some steps, I suppose you could say. I think we're going to need a lot of wire and a soldering iron, and maybe some coffee would be good too.
Okay, we got that.
It's a bit of a knee bone connected to the thigh bone sort of thing.
Well, let's start with this. This is the Navcom radio, and we're going to go from this to something where everybody's talking to each other.
There's more wires than a NASA command post. It's a long, complicated, and sometimes fraught afternoon. But at the end of it, thanks to Jeff, Grant has become somewhat of a cell phone expert.
So Grant, how are these cell phones supposedly affecting the airplanes?
Well, that's the question. I mean, there are two possibilities. First, the cell phone signal may be masking or blocking the radio signal from the airport or the radio beacons. And second, the cell phone may be actually affecting the navigational equipment itself directly.
So which is more likely?
It's hard to say definitively, but I think at this point what we should assume is that it's masking or blocking the radio signal.
Well, okay. I mean, that sounds like a good place to start.
But before they can start firing up some cell phone interference, they first need to see if their second-hand setup can even detect the beacon from San Francisco Airport's navigation station.
I don't think we're getting a good signal.
Okay, so what do you suggest?
Let's see if we can raise the antenna up.
Okay.
This extra altitude should allow their avionics to register the bleep from the airport beacon 10 miles away.
I can see my house from here.
Whose car is that in the driveway?
Hey!
We're getting a signal now.
Woohoo!
The signal that we're getting is the San Francisco VOR navigation station. So this tells us how many degrees bearing we are to the station. It tells the pilot where he is relative to the station.
Thanks to Jeff, the avionics seem to be all systems go. How this VOR gauge responds to cell phones will be crucial.
All right, we're gonna go in and talk some more electronic stuff. So we'll see you in a bit.
Now let me down. Is this about that $5 I owed from lunch?
Adam and Jamie are testing the myth that a life raft filled with helium will carry one of them into the clouds. So far, their inflatables have failed miserably.
It's not going anywhere.
It's not going anywhere.
So now they need to see what it will take to get this myth off the ground.
I can't help but noticing that even though it's tethered off, it ain't flying. Okay, so I've run the math on the lifting power of helium. It takes almost 16 cubic feet of helium just to lift 1 pound. That means for you or me, 200 pounds plus a raft, let's say it weighs 100 pounds, that's 300 pounds to lift, we need just under 5,000 cubic feet of helium to do that.
Jamie's considered response?
That's huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a third the cabin size of a DC-9 airplane.
Guys, that's nothing. The famous Hindenburg airship needed 7 million cubic feet of helium to stay aloft. But for some reason, on its fateful voyage from Germany to New York in May 1937, it was filled with flammable hydrogen instead. No one knows for sure what sparked the fire as she came in to land at Lakehurst Naval Air Station. But once the hydrogen started to burn, it took just seconds for history's largest airship to go up in smoke.
All the humanity and all the tragedy because I did.
Now, Adam and Jamie are going to build their own airship.
I'll tell you what I'm thinking. You know that clear poly tubing that comes in like 24, 36-inch lengths that they use for porting air conditioning around on a movie set?
Yeah, it's in a roll. It looks like just normal plastic, but it's actually a tube that you can inflate.
Right, they make a heat sealer for that. And given the amount of cubic footage we need and the amount of time we've got, I think that if we heat sealed long pontoons and assembled them somehow, it's our best chance of actually getting a raft with this much lift that might actually support us.
People, we're talking a raft the size of a parade float, made from helium-filled plastic pontoons 50 feet long. Actually, make that 2 rows for structural support. The giant pontoons will be joined with packing tape, and jugs of water will act as ballast, keeping the raft grounded until Adam's ready to cut loose and reach for the sky. Now, we don't recommend you try this at home. If left in his original packaging, he could become a collector's item.
All right, seal the other end. Oh. There we go. Signed, sealed, and delivered.
Out in the car park, the boys put the wind up a 50-foot tube. When I say wind, of course I mean helium. And the result is possibly the world's largest double entendre. Okay, fellas, enough schoolboy sniggering, please.
I'm actually going to hook it up to a fish scale, and however many pounds it shows pulling up on the fish scale is effectively the amount of buoyancy I've got.
The inflated tube has a 2-foot diameter and holds 157 cubic feet of helium. That adds up to 5 pounds of buoyancy.
Well, that would mean in order to lift you or me, we'd need 40 of these things. Not including the tape, so probably more like 50. Which actually gives us, good God, this is a big thing.
It's cool, though.
So big, in fact, that Jamie's workshop won't be anywhere near large enough.
I'm not sure what we're going to do with it when we get it inside.
It's going to be the biggest build in MythBusters history. But already there's a problem. Their practice pontoon is becoming flaccid.
Good God, is this supposed to support my weight?
The seal is airtight, and there are no leaks. The ultralight helium must be leaching out through the plastic itself.
Seam down here is just fine.
That means that time will be a big factor in this experiment. The entire raft, all 50 pontoons, will have to be assembled before inflation can begin. And with a total fill time of about 4.5 hours, will they be able to get Adam up before the raft goes down?
In order to make this work, we've got 50 of these tubes. We are allowed to have exactly 0 leaks.
Adam's feeling a little deflated already.
Yeah, that's helium, all right.
I don't know, to pull this off, I don't often say this, but it's looking to be nigh impossible to pull this off. It's fraught with problems. There's a ton of variables and just an amount of material that boggles my mind.
You think that's mind-boggling? Try getting your head around the assembly. 2,500 feet of fragile plastic tubing has to be rolled out and turned into a 2-tiered raft. The smallest leak could prove disastrous. The Brains Trust swings into action.
100 feet of space, right? You have them in one end of the 100 feet of space, and you roll them over themselves.
To itself have a working flap at the end of each tube.
Fishing weight on either end, and you have one. You lay out your piece.
Exactly thinking. Yeah, absolutely.
We'd like to have shown you the whole of this stimulating conversation, but rather alarmingly, it lasted almost 2 hours.
And you go like that, and then do it
But
again.
after much umming and erring, they finally devise a way to pull off the mother of all MythBusters builds.
That's great, because that actually, this is great. This allows us to do a whole day of just setting up and getting that right, and then we go in and fill it. Editors, I'm really sorry about that. That's just about probably one of the most fun conversations I've had while shooting this show. And I hope you can find some MythBusters mind meld kind of brilliance way to cut it together, because that's the soul of the whole deal.
Actually, Adam, if it's all the same to you, it might be easier just to show a graphic. The double-decker raft will be woven. First, the bottom deck, 25 pontoons, will be rolled out. The top layer is then rolled out crosswise. Lines of packing tape at 10-foot intervals will stitch the pontoons together. Time to get a cutting and a sealing.
Remember, take it easy. No mistakes.
There's more plastic here than a convention of Hollywood A-listers. But can they really turn these PVC pipes into a life raft plastic fantastic? Well, that all depends on the leaks. The helium's got to get in, but they don't want it getting out again. So each tube will need an airtight valve.
Good.
The answer? Silicon and zip ties.
There's no water going through there.
Yeah.
So you got to get that caulk under pressure.
You're right. You're absolutely right. So that'll keep the helium from leaking out, at least long enough to get this thing working.
That seems like a little minor thing, but that's exactly what we're good at doing. It's like a little bit of caulk, a couple of zip ties, and you've got a really high pressure seal that is not going to fail.
Now, there's some famous last words for you. Frequent flyers all know they must switch off their cell phones once on board. But why? Is it a ruse designed to benefit the providers of costly seat phones? Or is it just downright dangerous? Can a cell phone's RF signal disrupt vital ground-to-air communication and cause a plane malfunction? Grant's got a bunch of working cockpit components, so it's time to put this conspiracy theory to the test. The key to busting this myth lies in the invisible realm of radio frequencies. And because they're invisible, they make for really bad television. Unless you happen to have a spectrum analyzer.
Everything electronic, to a certain extent, emits radio frequency radiation, be it a CD player or personal gaming device or cell phone. And using this box, we can tell what frequencies it's putting out and how much power that is.
And to do that, he'll need a clean experimental space, a place where stray frequencies can't get in.
So that is pretty clean. And the very last thing is my radio mic here, which I'll switch off. And that is a pretty clean spectrum. I kind of think we should do our tests in here.
For even more RF protection, he builds a Faraday cage to go inside the container. A Faraday cage is a box made out of brass mesh, which blocks radio frequencies, so it should be ideal for this myth. Grant will use the spectrum analyzer to see how much RF a cell phone puts out. He's also going to test a few other devices often found in a plane seat pockets. A CD player, an MP3 player, and a portable game. They barely register. But watch what happens when he makes a call.
See that peak? That is the power output of a cell phone. And that is something that is more likely than anything else to interfere with the aircraft electronics.
Now, with a little help from aerospace engineer Jeff Guto, they'll simulate communication between airport and plane using their spare parts avionics and this device, a ramp tester.
And an avionics shop would use this to test the instruments that the pilot uses to land the aircraft.
So this one box duplicates all the signals that would be broadcast from the ground.
That's correct.
And they'll try to disrupt that communication by broadcasting RF from a cell phone signal generator.
What's the difference between that and, say, turning my phone on?
Well, a huge amount of power. So what we're going to do is we're not going to use all of this power to simulate the cell phone, just the amount that a cell phone would put out. But if that doesn't work, we have the extra power to say, well, what would it take to affect the instruments?
Will this machine give us brain tumors 25 times faster?
There's another myth for you to bust.
So let's get this straight. Inside the Faraday cage will sit the cockpit. This will be receiving a signal from the ramp tester, simulating the way a plane communicates with the airport. Grant will blast out RF from the cell phone signal generator to see if any cockpit components go bananas. That's the theory, and with Grant boxed in, it's time to put it into practice. Now remember, this gauge tells a pilot where he is in relation to the airport runway. If that needle wavers, it means our virtual aircraft could be on a crash course. Grant starts hitting it with simulated cell phone frequencies.
Start with GSM 1800.
GSM is a type of digital cell phone technology used by millions of people around the world.
The flag still says 2, and I have no needle deflection.
No response. Grant ups the power.
Ramping up the amplitude.
Is our plane still flying?
Still flying. I'm blasting it now at plus 20 dBm.
Grant, if I were you, I'd be reaching for my tinfoil underpants about now.
So this is 100 times stronger than the cell phone could put out. Okay, we're going up to 1,000 times. We'll try it one more time.
But watch what happens when he starts broadcasting at 800 megahertz, another common cell phone frequency.
So I am getting a big deflection here. I would call that a major deflection.
He tests 850 megahertz, then 900, with the same result. The needle swings wildly.
As we're marching through the different types of technologies, it seems that the ones that are around that 800 megahertz frequency, 850 to 900, are the ones that are having an effect on the meter. As far as the myth goes that these cell phones don't affect the airplane avionics, I have to say, I think that it's leaning towards busted. I think they can have an effect on that instrumentation.
Hang on, Grant. We don't want to bust this myth under lab conditions. We still have to take this cockpit to the airport for a test flight. Adam and Jamie's myth stated that if you fill a regular inflatable raft with helium, it'll fly.
Oh, it didn't float.
That was quickly busted. To get a single MythBuster airborne, it's going to take at least 5,000 cubic feet of helium. That is one giant raft. In fact, it's the biggest build in MythBusters history. And to put it all together, Adam and Jamie need a big space. Fully twice the size of Jamie's building, this hangar served as a giant spray booth where planes were painted.
So those rolls of plastic that you saw, there's 60 of them. And they're 60 feet long and 3 feet wide. We're gonna lay them out here on a 60 by 75 foot square. And as we roll them out, we're gonna stitch them together into a raft.
With tape.
With packaging tape.
Carrie, that look just about says it all. But before she has time to back out, she's put to work sweeping. Sure is her lucky day.
Every part of this raft is delicate, so we have to make sure the floor is totally cleared of every last bit of debris to make sure that there's nothing that can poke a hole in our plastic before we even get the helium in.
With the floor polished to perfection, the rolls of plastic are laid out, and the first line of tape goes down.
So it begins.
Precision is going to be the key to this test. If there's any tube that's not correctly aligned or any tie left undone, the whole raft could be ruined, and the myth will be sunk.
This is nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
2,500 feet of plastic, hundreds of feet of packing tape.
Knit one, purl two.
I'm not sure the term painstaking is really adequate. Several hours and 6 sore knees later, the layout is finally complete.
This is the highest potential for total failure I think that we've ever achieved on the show.
Highest?
Yeah, without a doubt.
This net is the last thing that we've got to do. If we can achieve a little tension on it, it's going to really hold all these things together, and we might get a chance to fly.
Wow, it's like a fishnet stocking for the Jelly Green Giant's mom. It's the end of day one. The raft, even though it doesn't look like it, is mostly built. It is now a raft in potentia. All we got to do tomorrow is come in with the helium, start filling these pontoons, manage them with the net, and we should be flying by lunchtime. I always get a kick when I'm so optimistic.
Can cell phones interfere with aircraft instruments? During one test, 800 megahertz, a common cell phone bandwidth, Grant's avionics went haywire. So now the airport beckons.
All right, so we did the experiments in the Faraday cage. The cell phone affects the avionics. Do we have to go to the airport? Why?
Our viewers are not going to be convinced unless we have the most realistic scenario we can, a moving platform in a real environment.
Plus, while the ramp tester is a really good diagnostic tool for the bench, there are a few signals that you can only get at the airport.
Well, sweet. I guess we'll strap that airplane to the back of the truck and take you for a ride.
It'll look cool.
Oh, great.
Sounds like a delicate job for Tori.
All right, so I just attached the cockpit to the truck, and the reason why we want this cockpit to move around is we're trying to simulate an airplane, and some of the instruments in the airplane will react to a beacon at the airport, and as we move around the airport, it should change on the instruments.
That's the theory. Unfortunately, they won't be able to put it into practice on a runway, but they'll get close.
Cool. This place is perfect. Oh, yeah. We got planes coming in constantly. We got a big, long parking lot we can drive around in.
We're right on the approach pattern. It's perfect.
As far as flight simulators go, this isn't what you'd call state-of-the-art. Top Gun Grant's in the hot seat as the cockpit taxis around the car park, receiving a real signal from the airport's navigation beacon. He'll blast the instruments with RF from the cell phone simulator.
Ready?
Chocks away. We're clear for takeoff. But as soon as our pilot picks up speed, there's a problem. It seems Grant's flying through the Bermuda Triangle.
What's going on back there, G-Force? Needles all over the place.
Yeah, it's really hard to center. As we're moving around, the needle is swinging back and forth, and the nav flag is popping up.
And that's before the cell phone signals have even started.
We're gonna need a pretty stable reading here in order to tell if it's the cell phone doing it or what.
So what's next, G-Force?
I think we've got to try it again, but stationary this time. Engine off. See if I can get the needle centered.
He feels the need to be very still.
Okay, so the needle is centered and stationary. Whoa! I just lost signal. I lost the nav flag and the needle swung way up. I don't know. It looks okay now. I don't know what to make of that. No.
He just can't get a stable reading. Not even Jeff's expertise is going to get them out of this one.
It could be a grounding or a shielding problem, yes.
I mean, do you have to deal with this sort of thing normally?
Well, normally when you do an avionics installation in an aircraft, it's done to a little bit better standards.
This is our cockpit. It's not wired, totally like a real plane. We're getting a lot of interference because we're on the ground. I mean, the obvious solution would be to get a real plane and test it with some cell phones.
Just as well, the MythBusters always plan ahead. This sleek bird's been waiting in the wings just in case their homemade plane crashed and burned.
I know you guys wanted to see us in the air testing this, but we can't. It's illegal.
We tried our best to be able to get a commercial airline, even a charter airline, even a private plane to get us up in the air with a cell phone. It's federal law.
They can't run this myth in the air, but under controlled conditions, they can try a test on the tarmac.
As soon as I get one of these, I can start dating supermodels.
How you doing?
Tom Benvenuto is Vice President of Flight Operations at Sunset Aviation.
Is this one yours?
This is ours. This is the Hawker 800 XP. It's 2003. It's a mid-size corporate jet. It sits 8 people.
You and 7 of your friends.
Yeah, that's right.
Supermodels.
That's right. That's right.
Now, guys, with all due respect, this is a cockpit. A glass cockpit, they call it. Top-of-the-line avionics, computers, LCD displays. Not a gauge in sight.
We also have the land-based navigational aids. All that can be affected, apparently the so-called, the experts say, apparently be affected by outside signals, such as cell phones, any type of electronic devices.
In fact, according to maintenance manager Mike Corrigan, aircraft instruments can sometimes interfere with each other.
We have a problem sometimes where with a strobe light, as it fires, we'll turn components on and off, simply from the radiation from the wire, from the power going back to the light. If you have an electronic component wire sitting next to it or crossing it, it can pick that signal up, turn the unit on, turn the unit off.
And that's why modern aircraft like the Hawker are so heavily shielded.
All this, because there's a bazillion miles of wires flowing through this aircraft, are all shielded. And whatever RF signal that may come in conflict with the aircraft technically shouldn't affect the aircraft.
We'll see about that, Tom.
The size of this antenna was making the airplane guys a little nervous out there.
Regulations mightn't allow the test to happen in the air, but ground-to-air communications begin even before takeoff. So the Hawker will sit on the tarmac, receiving a full range of radio signals, while Grant attempts some cell phone sabotage.
For our test, I have several older cell phones that we're trying out. Some analog, I've got a PCS phone, different technologies. All of these are operating, except for the PCS, in the 800 to 900 megahertz band.
Remember, that's the bandwidth that caused problems back in the Faraday cage.
Ready. Stand by. And 3, 2, 1.
And nothing's happening.
This is PCS phone operating at 1.85 gigahertz. In 3, 2, 1.
Nothing.
Okay, this is cell phone number 3, transmitting at 850 megahertz.
None of the phones has any effect on ground-to-air communication. He tries amplifying the signals using the cell phone signal generator.
Seeing any result?
Nope.
Nope.
Not a flicker, not a flash, not a blink.
This airplane is built very well. It's rock solid, this airplane.
Rock solid and seemingly impenetrable. The team keeps testing, but if this pattern continues, the seat phone conspiracy theory is looking shaky.
All right, we're ready.
Well, the conspiracy theorists have it right on one point. It is more expensive to use the in-flight phone than it is your cell phone. Now, why is it so expensive?
That's because it's a dedicated system, and it works in 2 ways. If you're over land, the hardwired phone goes to a transmitter in the belly of the plane. That then talks to one of 135 land-based radio towers.
And even more complicated, if you're over water, it has to bounce off a satellite and back down to a tower.
So it's really expensive because it's a specialized, dedicated system.
And what's more, seat phones are safe. In no way do they interfere with a plane's avionics. Can the same be said of the cell phone? Well, back at Ground Zero, all of the cell phones have been tested, and none have affected any instruments. So why won't airlines let you use them? Well, it seems to be a case of better to be safe than sorry.
There are so many systems on the plane, they would have to all be tested to make sure, and you're talking about millions of dollars worth of testing.
So they just don't want to take any chances.
They don't want to take any chances.
And a new cell phone comes out every month.
Yeah.
New cell phone, different frequency.
But before they wrap this up, Tori's got one more burning question.
So Tom, when you're not working, do you ever sneak this out just for your own personal fun?
Just between you and me? No.
All jokes aside, this myth is no laughing matter. But what's the verdict? Can cell phones spiral out of control?
All right. The conspiracy of cell phones on airplanes.
It was totally frustrating because we couldn't really get on an airplane with a cell phone, and we couldn't make a call, and we couldn't even see how many bars you had while you're in the air.
Those pesky laws.
We don't have any evidence other than our small-scale cockpit, which wasn't hardened against RF, and the wires weren't shielded.
When we went out to the commercial jetliner, we weren't able to get any effects on his instruments.
Right. I mean, we ran a bunch of tests, many different cell phones, no interference. I think it's probably safer on the FAA's part just to say there's a ban outright, because there's a 1 in a million chance that some new cell phone could interfere with those instruments, and that's what they want to avoid.
Why take the chance? So this one's busted.
I say it's busted.
Adam and Jamie have built what they hope will be the world's first flying raft. It's the biggest thing they've ever made, and tensions are running high.
There's not a lot of optimism in the room at the moment. I think that there's a lot of difficulties that are presenting themselves. There's small little imperfections that could cause everything to completely implode on us. So we're crossing our fingers, but I'm not seeing the smiles you usually see on the MythBuster faces.
Once in every generation, a myth comes along that does not thrill us.
To help distribute Adam's weight across the giant raft, he'll lie on a mini version. 3 small tubes, double bagged for strength. And with the arrival of the Helium, all 36 cylinders of it, it's time to get this myth up and running.
All right, well, it's in. It's either gonna float or it's gonna flame out. You ready?
We're ready.
All right, let's go.
And so the inflation begins. With 50 of these giant plastic tubes, the team is going to need almost 8,000 cubic feet of helium to try to get this myth off the ground.
All right.
One perfect pontoon.
It's the biggest build in MythBusters history.
We filled 2 pontoons. It goes about 3 minutes of fill. We've got 48 yet to go.
Thanks for the warning. We might go to the time lapse here.
I'm not seeing or hearing any leaks.
As the massive pontoons fill, each one generates 5 pounds of lift.
Good.
Before long, the raft is straining to rise.
This thing is effectively neutrally buoyant right now, and we have plenty to lift me.
The MythBusters can boast a whole raft of achievements, but this raft would have to rate highly. Not sure Huck Finn would want to take it down the old Mississippi, but still.
This is strange. I've never seen anything like this before.
It has to be the single largest thing I've ever built, bar none, let alone in 2 days.
But will it work? Time for Adam to slip into something a little less comfortable.
This is my new toy, my new SWAT team tactical black climbing harness. My sister gave it to me. My whole family's like this.
Yeah, I get the harness, but the wetsuit?
I'm wearing the wetsuit because if we're successful at this, we'd like to walk it out to the lagoon and float it on the water, see if it would be a viable raft. I don't understand that because if it flies in the air, something tells me that it would float on the water.
Oh, go on. What's the real reason?
I'm wearing the wetsuit because it makes me look good. Damn good.
Final thoughts?
The fact that we've got it up and it's buoyant, very exciting. I really just want to get on there now and be able to relax with my flying raft.
It's up, up, and away.
Good, good. Okay, lower.
With Adam in position on the mattress, Carrie starts dumping the ballast. But straight away, there's a problem.
You better cut the other side a little bit.
Without the ballast, one side of the raft suddenly takes to the skies. And Adam begins to slip off his mattress.
Okay, stop. Don't cut anymore.
Okay, whoa!
The team stop cutting the ballast, but the damage is done as Adam slides off his helium bed like a greasy bar of soap.
Wait a second.
Without any support structure, the flimsy pontoons can't cope. On a build this big, there was always the chance that something would slip through the cracks. Never thought it would be Adam, though.
Hey, Adam.
Yeah.
This isn't working.
No, it seems to have failed utterly.
You've like slipped right through to the bottom side.
Yeah, I feel like something that got cut out of the Matrix here.
Are you all right?
I'm fine. I'm upside down and I'm in a net and I'm below the biggest thing ever built out of helium and balloons, but I'm fine.
Adam may be fine, but the test ain't. With the raft coming apart at the seams, there's just no way the team can reset to try again. Their only chance at liftoff has just slipped through the net.
Oh, it's very satisfying. Oh, I shouldn't do that.
All that work.
Look at this. It's a cathedral of failure.
Not really, Adam. We've learned that any raft able to fly will be unfeasibly large and far too flimsy to take passengers.
Oh my God, we might need to open a door. It's getting kind of weird.
It's getting helium-y in
Getting
here.
really stuffy.
I think it is.
I'm gonna open up the door, okay?
Okay.
I don't think anybody would fault us for not giving it the best possible effort for success. I'm sure someone's yelling at their television right now, but I'm calling this one busted. I know we're not supposed to bust them on site. We're supposed to wait for the blueprint table, but I don't want to go back there. I just want to take this wetsuit off and call it done and busted.
Yeah.
Busted.
Yeah.
Busted.
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 Thank you. I was waiting for you to say it.
Okay.
Let's clean it up.